died 3 weeks later. Medical experts compared her injuries to being in a high-speed car crash. Her dad was charged for her death 7 years later. During sentencing, the judge described how Mikas violently shook his daughter. He will serve 9 years in prison with credit for time served. All right, time now to bring in weather specialist Riley Laychuk. And Riley, first thing this morning when I looked outside, just those really pretty light flurries as those temperatures started to warm
almost
up.
like suspended flurries first thing in the morning. Things have been changing since then. Brittany, we're into a bit of a more damp air mass that's pushing into the province, a bit of a warmer one as well, and that is already sparking some freezing rain or some freezing drizzle in some cases. So you can see we have seen some flurries, some light snow through the Interlake and through parts of the Parkland, but if we push this in closer to Winnipeg, you can see around the Portage la Prairie area, you'll see a frame of it here where there's a hint of pink, and that's that radar indicating the transition over to some freezing precipitation as we got through the later afternoon into the evening. Again, a little bit, it's been very, very light. Radar hasn't even been picking it up, but a bit of freezing precipitation over parts of the city through the late afternoon as well. So there is a freezing drizzle advisory in place for the southern Interlake, down through the Red River Valley, the city of Winnipeg, through the White Shell and into northwestern Ontario. The likelihood is we'll see some freezing precipitation, particularly east into Ontario as we get into the overnight hours. So overnight temperatures will actually rise, then fall by the morning, closer to -10 with that freezing drizzle risk first thing. -9, maybe a few scattered flurries first thing in the morning, Brittany. And then we'll start to get into some clearing. -7 tomorrow afternoon, but looking at things on the positive side by the time we get to the weekend. I'll go into details when I come back.
Riley, I love a positive. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Critically injured, the latest on an early morning crash that has one woman fighting for her life. More on that and local news straight ahead. A woman is fighting for her life in hospital tonight after a car crashed into a strip mall. A bystander who stepped in and tried to help says she's still reeling from the terrible scene and can't stop reliving those moments. The CBC's Matt Humphrey has more.
And they just came in straight shot through, like right here. But they would have went, if she didn't listen to me, they would have went straight in the store.
Jax Rock is still processing what she saw Thursday morning. She says shortly before 8, an SUV with 2 people inside crashed into the Dominion Center strip mall along Goulet Street. Rock says the driver was having a medical emergency.
This is their track right here. This right here. And then they almost hit the car right there. But it was here where her head went down at the wheel.
Police say one person is being taken to hospital in critical condition. It all started when Rock was waiting outside the Shoppers Drug Mart.
All of a sudden, the car just hammered the gas. Like, hammered the gas, full throttle, and it was coming straight here. It would have come right through here.
She says the crash victims were a mother and daughter she used to visit with at Shoppers, and when she saw what was happening, she tried to help.
Well, I was yelling at the passenger. I said, "Passenger, take the wheel and hit the brake." But she was trying to grab the leg to get it off the gas, right? I said, "No, just hit the brake and steer so you might be able to get a chance." And I started running that way.
Car debris and bricks litter the ground in front of the Pet Value and Taco Time next door. Rock says she got into the crashed SUV and started doing chest compressions on the passenger.
Trying to keep her calm and comfortable, and she's bleeding. And gave her CPR because she stopped breathing at a point.
Rock says authorities asked her to walk them through what she saw step by step.
The airbags didn't do anything for anybody. In fact, it made the whole situation worse, them damn airbags. Because when she hit, just because of the...
Police say the circumstances of the crash are under investigation. Matt Humphrey, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg's mayor is making an early case for why he deserves another term. In his State of the City speech to the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce, Mayor Scott Gillingham pointed to new housing, investment, and growth in the aerospace sector as signs Winnipeg is on the right track. CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
And let's build the next Winnipeg together. Thank you.
In his last appearance at the annual gathering of Winnipeg's business leaders before running for re-election, Mayor Scott Gillingham made the case for why the future of the city is looking up.
In the months ahead, you're going to hear 2 different stories about Winnipeg. One story will say, nothing's working, nothing's improved, we need to turn back the clock. The other story says, look at what we have built.
Among the reasons for Gillingham's optimism, he announced the owner of the shuttered Marlborough Hotel has partnered with Centre Venture. They plan to turn the hotel, closed since 2024, into a 300-unit mixed-market apartment building.
That will have other amenities for the city, but really creating density, creating housing units, and at least 15% of those will be affordable.
Gillingham also told the crowd he met last week with reps from 7-Eleven Canada, who say they plan to open several new locations in Winnipeg.
And I'll drink to that.
That announcement marks a turnaround from the last couple of years, which saw several locations in the city closed due to repeat thefts. Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce President Lauren Remillard couldn't say whether the company's views of the city had changed.
But at the end of the day, and the Chamber has long contended that companies make their voice heard through their investment decisions.
But the centerpiece of Gillingham's Chamber speech was a commitment to take advantage of the hundreds of billions of dollars the federal government plans to spend on defense. Winnipeg already has local aviation manufacturing and a significant Air Force presence. Gillingham pledged to take at least one concrete step every month to grow what he calls the sky economy.
It could be convening a table of the key players within the sky economy. It could be, an infrastructure investment that enables growth in an aviation sector or aerospace sector or even defense.
With a little over 7 months until the election, this speech was Gillingham's chance to make an early pitch to voters before October. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Some active transportation advocates won't be getting the temporary bike lanes they were hoping for. A group of bike enthusiasts packed City Hall Wednesday, urging councillors to approve temporary bike lanes on Wellington Crescent. The push comes following the death of cyclist Rob Jenner, who was hit by a speeding car while riding on Wellington in 2024. Ultimately, calls for temporary lanes were shot down by the committee. Instead, councillors voted to move forward with permanent protected bike lanes. Construction is expected to begin in spring of 2027. Riley, back in now. We had a little bit of all things winter today. That snow, the flurries, the freezing rain, and the temperatures now as well.
Temperatures still on the way up, Brittany. Just about -8 downtown. I was looking at a -2. Maybe that was a bit optimistic, but we'll see things continuing to climb slightly as we get into the evening, and that is going to increase that chance of some freezing precipitation. And then we freeze all over again. So we're going to start the temperature trend because we are really going on a bit of a ride down the slide and up again and down again here over the next 10 days. So this takes us out to the middle of the month. And as I always say when I show this is more like a thing to show you the trend of where we're headed, not necessarily the forecast, particularly as we get toward the end of this. But you can see for the weekend, certainly looking at things going all the way back up and then all the way back down again, and then up by the middle of next week and all the way back down. All this to say, we are looking at a couple of rounds of freeze-thaw happening across southern Manitoba. So you can only think, the usual spring, what is that going to do to the potholes? Probably make them a little worse before they get better. Okay, here we go. We are looking at some freezing rain pushing into parts of the province. We have seen some very light mist or some freezing drizzle at times. It's been so light that it hasn't actually showed up on radar over the city, but there is that freezing drizzle advisory in place because of what we're looking at as we get into the overnight hours. So as we get into some warmer air, and as some of that warmer air meets some of that cooler air that we've been seeing across the province, things hovering around -10 in the south for the most part today. It's the recipe for some freezing rain, particularly into southeastern Manitoba and certainly into northwestern Ontario by the time we get into the morning hours. The rest of the province, through the Parkland, through parts of the Inner Lake, into some light snow still first thing in the morning. This does start to taper off and push eastward as we get through the day. But you'll see we are looking even into the morning hours tomorrow by mid-morning, some prolonged areas where we could see either some flurries, some freezing rain, or some straight showers, really temperature dependent. We will get into some slightly cooler air down the road, but we are looking at things warming up again as we get into the day on Friday. So things do clear. I think by late afternoon, Winnipeg, most of southern Manitoba into a mix of sun and clouds, but then the next system rolls in as we get through the weekend. That's a low that's pushing in from the north. And as temperatures warm up along this warm front, looking at temperatures close to even 3 degrees by the time we get into the later part of Saturday. That could mean some showers for the south, more of a snow event into northern Manitoba before we see some more clearing and things falling as we get into the next, week or so here. So all this to say, Brittany, we're looking at some up and down weather, the potential for some fog tonight in the south as well.
All right. Thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
That is of Monsters and Men, announced today as the headlining act for this summer's Winnipeg Folk Fest. Other acts include Father John Misty, Billy Bragg, and Swedish band Goat. You can check out the full lineup online. Tickets are already on sale. We're back right after this.
We'll tell her that I miss our little talks. Soon it will be over and buried with our past. We used to play outside when we were young and full of
Ottawa has shared plans for bringing home Canadians stranded in the Middle East. But for the people affected, plans are one thing, executing them another. The CBC's Julia Wong reports.
As the crisis in the Middle East deepens, so does the desperation of Canadians looking to leave.
When you hear the sirens in the middle of the night, my heart just about leaps out of my chest.
With more than 2,000 people wanting to get out of the region, Ottawa is trying to organize chartered flights and block book seats on commercial planes. Officials stressing the volatility of the situation.
For now, we strongly encourage Canadians to shelter in place, stay indoors, keep away from windows, follow instructions from local authorities, and rely on trusted news sources for updates.
For some, Canada is not doing enough.
Canada told us to prepare a plan that doesn't rely on our own government. We're a family with 2 kids and in a war zone. I mean, I don't know, who else should we rely on? Other countries are flying their citizens home. Canada sent us an email, basically.
Canada is hoping to work out ground transportation too. For one family, taking a bus from Israel to Egypt, where airspace is open, isn't viable.
It would be like 4 hours, maybe 6, to get to the crossing, and you're on the road with no protection, which isn't super safe. Traveling there under rockets, the rockets they're constant.
My God! That risk across the region highlights the hard choices Canadians are struggling to make.
Do I travel to Saudi Arabia in my own hired car and risk, the debris from missiles, shrapnels coming down, or shelter in place? It's a very, very hard decision to make at this point.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says she's in touch with international partners to help get Canadians out of danger, adding she spoke with NATO's Secretary General and her counterparts in the UK, France, and Turkey to find ways to work together. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
The war against Iran is also disrupting energy exports from the Middle East, and that could push other countries to ramp up production. Anis Hadari looks at whether Canada could step in to sell more oil and gas.
As conflict blocks Middle Eastern trade routes, Canadian energy could see increased demand.
We are even more important today than we were before the weekend.
But can Canada replace oil and gas from the Gulf states?
And the answer is yes, it can provide a small degree. It's the amount. Can it in any way contribute in a large or significantly meaningful way to what is being lost? The answer is no, it can't today.
There are possibilities over a far longer period of time if there's additional pipeline capacity to Tidewater. Expensive railways can also make a big difference, but to justify that, oil needs an even higher price.
I do feel as though there will be an effort to make sure that the oil and the LNG can start to flow because no one wants to see a $90 or $100 barrel. That would create a shock that would be very bad for everybody.
Canada wasn't able to substantially replace lost energy exports after Russia invaded Ukraine, a region that could be a factor this time.
So it's a luxury to have had Russia out of the mix. When push comes to shove, you will start to see countries, turning up their nose, but importing some Russian supply.
About 20% of the world's oil moves through the Strait of Hormuz. If that stays blocked, opening up existing pipelines and trains in North America won't cut it.
There are some minor things that could certainly be considered by individual companies and governments that can support a bit of increased production to fill that void. But over the long term, you need to build fairly major pieces of infrastructure.
Without new infrastructure, Canada could export about 250,000 more oil barrels a day, but that would take a few months. And it's far less than even 1% of total global production. Anis Hadari, CBC News, Calgary.
We now know artificial intelligence is being used by the U.S. military during airstrikes in this war. But there are concerns and questions about what exactly is happening, specifically whether it's humans or machines making that final decision to kill. David Common explains.
Artificial intelligence is a key tool being used by the U.S. and Israeli military, and while the extent is being kept secret, it's clear AI is being used against Iran. AI can shorten what the military calls the kill chain. That is the process, usually driven by humans, that can take days or weeks in selecting a target. But AI can shrink that to milliseconds. That involves finding a target, determining its importance, tracking it, selecting the type of weapon and the system to deliver it, then communicating all of that and assessing whether the strike was successful. It all raises a number of questions. Are humans still involved in the decision-making process? Do they consider moral and ethical implications? What if AI gets it wrong? These questions came up with Anthropic, a leading firm that supplies its Claude AI to the Pentagon. It demanded humans always review a decision to kill, but the discussions went sideways, and the Secretary of War took steps to remove Anthropic from future work. But U.S. media report Claude AI was used during the opening attacks on Iran and is still being used now. The Pentagon won't talk about it, except that it plans to switch from Anthropic to a new firm, OpenAI. Here in Israel, the military also makes extensive use of AI, whether it's in the attacks against Iran or in its war on Hamas. But as more people are replaced by machines to fight national wars, it all raises moral and ethical implications. We are very much in uncharted territory.
Changes to the rules around temporary foreign workers are starting to impact businesses. Workers who've been in Canada for years are starting to leave, and many businesses say they're unable to replace them. Peter Cowan looks at the impact.
For some of these workers, it's their last week making cabinets.
I still want to work here, but the government says no.
2 years ago, John Henrik Cruzado left the Philippines to work at this manufacturing plant in Quebec's eastern townships. This week, he's going home. About 30% of the workers here are from overseas, but new federal rules on temporary foreign workers cap it at 10%, so the company can't renew his permit.
For us, it means that we're going to lose like 50 workers this year.
In 2024, the federal government changed the rules to reduce the number of foreign workers. 2-year permits issued just before that change are now expiring, and companies are scrambling.
There's just not enough people in the area. I mean, we post a job and we receive like 1-2 resumes. Sometimes they don't have the right profile for the job, so it's really, really difficult.
The company is warning that losing these workers will lead to tens of millions of dollars in orders it can't fulfill.
It's very difficult for hoteliers.
Other sectors are feeling the pinch. Many hotels are losing workers who clean rooms and work in the kitchen.
We have these people, they are happy to live here, to work here in this kind of job, and we can't renew their permit. Where is the logic?
Hotels say as workers leave, they can't find replacements. They're having to close rooms or reduce kitchen hours heading into the busiest season. It's tough on the businesses and even more so on the workers.
They come here looking for a better future, but that's kind of the temporary nature of this program.
The federal government says the program was never designed to be a permanent fix. Instead, it says companies need to hire and train the Canadian workers they need. Peter Cowan, CBC News, Montreal.
Some researchers say federal guidelines around radon gas are putting the health of some Canadians in danger. Millions of homes in this country have high levels of the invisible radioactive gas, but many of those homeowners aren't taking steps to mitigate the risk. Health reporter Lauren Pelly has details on why.
So we're expecting this to be going down after Arthur's done.
Maureen Hayes decided to install a radon mitigation system this winter.
I was definitely concerned, and you know, the government issues these guidelines, but they're different internationally.
For more than a year, readings in her Ottawa home showed a level below Canada's threshold for taking action, but also higher than some other global guidelines. Canada's threshold to take action on home radon levels is 200 becquerels per cubic meter, a measurement referring to the amount of radioactive gas present in the air. That guideline is double the maximum threshold recommended by the World Health Organization.
Canada's radon
guideline is due for an update.
This environmental advocate says having a higher guideline could discourage many Canadians from mitigating their homes.
The Canadian standard that recommends action only above 200 is really failing to protect Canadians.
Breathing in radon gas can cause lung cancer, and data shows close to half of all detached houses in Canada have levels above the WHO's guideline. Health Canada says the department encourages Canadians to reduce their radon levels as much as possible, since there is no safe level of exposure. But at this time, there are no plans to change Canada's guidelines. Some scientists say more research is needed before updating our approach. This team is studying whether the risk of radon is rising thanks to added factors like wildfire smoke.
The dirtier the air, the greater the dose from the radon.
Cancer touches nearly every family in Canada.
Millions in funding was announced last week to support that research alongside other studies to prevent cancer. Health Canada told us the findings could help inform future radon recommendations. In the meantime, homeowners like Hayes have to decide what level of this cancer-causing gas they're willing to live with. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
The warning coming from one group tonight. They say even though Iran's missiles can't hit Canada, their cyber attacks can. We'll have more on the vulnerabilities next. Iran continues to retaliate to the ongoing attacks from the United States and Israel. So far, that response has been mostly missile strikes against targets inside neighboring Persian Gulf countries. But the Canadian Centre for Cybersecurity is warning that Iran will also use cyber attacks, and Canada could be in the crosshairs. Carmi Levy is a technology analyst and spoke to Marjorie Dowhouse about what that could look like.
It could be something as simple as a power outage, targeting the electrical grid. It could be the water system. You open your tap and nothing comes out. Or maybe the healthcare system. You go to the hospital, their computer networks are down. They've reverted to paper. Or even transportation networks. You're driving to work and the traffic lights are all out, and there's traffic chaos on the roads. And so it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but really these are kind of the underpinnings of modern society. And when you take them away, that can cause some very significant chaos, kind of give Iran a tactical advantage without having to fire a shot clear across the ocean.
Carmi, how vulnerable are these elements of critical infrastructure?
We're a lot more vulnerable than we probably think we should be. In many cases, for example, look at the headlines in recent years of Canadian cities, regional governments, even provincial governments, zoos, libraries that have been targeted with ransomware attacks. And that suggests very clearly that at a public level, public-facing level, we are not investing in appropriate technologies, training processes to maximize our resilience against this kind of thing. So if we're already suffering from ransomware attacks across the country, then that leaves the door open to other kinds of attacks from state-sponsored interests like Iran or their partners in crime, Russia, China, North Korea. We simply haven't been taking this seriously as we should, and as a result, we've been seeing for years this gradual increase in this kind of activity, and it's costing us dearly.
Carmi, is it possible that some of these systems are too old, too analog to be vulnerable to a type of cyber attack like this?
To a certain degree, that is true. For example, for the longest time, ICBMs in the U.S. were run on systems based on 8-inch floppies that had been first introduced in the 1960s. And the thinking then was, well, this technology is so old, there's no way that a cyber attacker would even bother to pay attention. But the flip side of that is that that's the kind of attitude that can get us into trouble. If we assume that we're invulnerable, that there's no way that we could be targeted because this technology is so old, that's when cyber attackers target us. That's when they look for those weak points and bore right in. And so no matter how old or new our technology might be, we should never assume that we are somehow magically protected against this kind of thing, because that's the kind of attitude that always seems to get us into trouble.
So, Carmi, as you mentioned, this critical infrastructure, it's important for our daily lives and for everything to be functioning here properly. So why aren't these then better protected?
I think it's just cybersecurity. It's almost like insurance. It's something that we only pay attention to when an emergency happens. You don't wake up in the morning and think about your insurance policy, but I can guarantee you that's top of mind if your house catches fire and you've got to call them and make a claim. And cybersecurity is very much the same way. If we're not being victimized, or individuals or family members or friends or companies immediately adjacent to us, if they're not being victimized, we just don't pay attention until something happens. And that, of course, needs to change, because the best time for a cybersecurity checkup is not after an attack has occurred, it's beforehand. And so we need to start changing our ways. We need to start tightening our individual password protocols, no longer using the same password we've been using since high school, using unique passwords across different systems, activating two-factor authentication and encryption, and all the things that would keep us safer.
How much can actions like this advance the interests of the Iranian regime?
Significantly, because if we think about geopolitically sort of where we're at, our Prime Minister, Mark Carney, hasn't committed Canadian military assets yet, but he's left the door open to that. And he certainly has shared his support of what is happening here. And we know that Iran, not exactly Canada's best friend, the regime has always been at sort of cross purposes with us. And now that we're kind of on the side of the U.S., that gives Iran even more of a reason to come at us in the digital space. If there are successful successful prosecutions digitally against Canada, that could give Ottawa pause about what they choose to do militarily, what the timing, what resources they choose to devote to it. You can push back on an adversary without firing a shot. And that's what Iran's game plan is here. Give Canada something to think about if it wants to involve itself in this conflict.
Riley back in now. And Riley, I know our pup loves when she doesn't have to wear the booties, when she can get outside and run free. Because there's so many of them that put them on and just kind of make that funny little walk with it.
Kick them off.
Or kick them off.
Kick them off, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to those positive temperatures.
Yes, especially through the weekend. But as I said earlier, Brittany, we're going to be going up and down here over the next week and a half or so. So keep them handy, just in case you might need them. Let's start with your dog walking forecast. Maybe a bit slick, particularly if you're heading out into the evening or into the early morning. Here's Nina. Maybe Nina won't mind all that much. Thank you, Amanda, for sending this picture, and you can send yours to talkback@cbc.ca. So there is that risk in the Red River Valley. As I said earlier, more so into northwestern Ontario that we see some freezing drizzle as we get through the evening tonight into the early morning hours. So there's still the chance of a few scattered flurries, I think, first thing. Temperatures will drop closer to -10 once again by the time we get into the morning hours tomorrow. Topping out around -7 through the afternoon, we'll get some gradual clearing through the days. So I think even by 4 or 5 o'clock, you'll likely notice a bit of a brighter sky, or at least that's what I'm thinking, particularly the further west you are in the province as we get into the afternoon hours tomorrow. I'm going to show you a look outside at our tower cam. We have seen, some very light freezing drizzle, as I was saying earlier, not even showing up on radar returns, but nonetheless, it's kind of there. Some of the vehicles in our parking lot here at the CBC were a bit icy this afternoon. So you can see that coating of ice on the camera here, -9 in the city. Some very light flurries still falling at the airport right now, and you can kind of see with the color gradation here where some parts of the province are into some of that warmer air right now. -4 in Sprague, -2 in Fort Frances, some of that cooler air to the west at -14s in both Brandon and Dauphin. So as we get through the night, through the evening, at least, the further east you are, temperatures will rise a bit more before they drop once again down to -10 in Winnipeg, closer to the -15 mark into western parts of the province, Peguis at -12. And certainly a bit of moderation in northern Manitoba from where we started the week with the extreme cold warnings. -15 in Thompson tonight, -17 in Gillam, a far cry from those -30s that we saw through the early part of the week. And temperatures in northern Manitoba rising even up close to the freezing mark through Flin Flon, the Paw through the afternoon tomorrow. -1, -5 in Grand Rapids, maybe a bit windy along the Hudson Bay coast at -12 in Churchill through the afternoon, and really a mix of sun and clouds by the time we get through the day. In southern Manitoba, there is that potential, particularly in the southeast and into northwestern Ontario, of seeing a few patches of freezing rain before this transitions over to some snow into the afternoon hours, topping out around -3, -4 into parts of the west as we get through the day tomorrow. Your long range looking like this, bright in the west as we get through the day on Saturday and Sunday, temperatures above the freezing mark, and looking very quickly at northern Manitoba through the next few days here. There's some snow coming as we get through the weekend, particularly into Thompson. Brittany, this could be an accumulating event through the weekend for northern Manitoba. Well, it was introduced as an energy conservation measure during the First World War in 1918. Daylight saving time has long sparked discussion and debate.
It sure has. It's back in the spotlight now, with BC opting to ditch the twice-yearly clock change after this Sunday's shift to daylight time. CBC reporter Bill Moram gives us this look back on the debate over daylight time in Winnipeg and the history behind the time change.
At one time, man's cue to rise was far simpler. But time has changed. Daylight saving time isn't the issue it once was, but as early as 1916, when it made its first appearance in Winnipeg, it was a sore point with a lot of Manitobans. It was introduced province-wide for the first time in 1918 as an energy conservation measure during the First World War. The war ended, but in the legislature, the fight between interests representing rural Manitoba and their city cousins carried on right up into the early 60s. Harry Enns came into the legislature near the tail end of the debate.
A lot of communities, particularly urban communities, saw the merit in having that extra daylight hour to carry on their leisure activities, go golfing, or the amateur sports people who were in the ballparks. And then it became a country-city kind of a thing. And the farmers, of course, said, look, we're not dictated by fiddling around with the clock. Our cows have to be milked at a certain hour and our crops have to be taken after a certain hour.
Daylight savings survived the debates. Now the NDP government wants to make the change from standard to daylight 3 weeks earlier.
The Americans will have daylight saving time effective the first Sunday in April. Most of the provinces in Canada will. And therefore, to assist our broadcasting, transportation, and other industries, we've decided to move at the same time.
The change to Manitoba's official Time Act still has to pass the legislature, but with little or no opposition expected for the change, Manitobans can probably count on an extra hour of daylight starting the first Sunday in April. Bill Morum, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Nice little throwback. Well, still ahead, Run, Spot, Run. After the break, we take you to a snowy labyrinth designed for our four-legged friends. Stay with us.
Thought I'd leave you with a quick look at radar, and you can see certainly where we've seen some of those warmer temperatures just south of the border in Minnesota compared to where we've seen some of the colder air through the Interlake and parts of the west. So we are looking at the potential for some freezing drizzle overnight tonight. That does bring with it a chance of some scattered flurries first thing in the morning for the Red River Valley, up to -7 tomorrow afternoon. And then look at the weekend there, +3 for both Saturday and Sunday. A chance that we'll see some showers. I think a fairly good one overnight Saturday into the day on Sunday. Still a chance of showers into Sunday, -1 into Monday. Then I am watching, again, I was looking at that system last night. There's still a bit of uncertainty in the Monday-Tuesday timeframe of what happens. Well, we all know winters, Brittany, can be long, dark, and cold, especially for our pets.
One dog owner in Thunder Bay is using the snowy winter to his advantage. He's created a snow labyrinth in his backyard for small dogs, puppies, and their owners to come out and burn some energy. Here's your Daily Lift.
My name's Paul Orm. My brother and I put it together. What happened is in December when I got my puppy Addie, I started to build him a place in the front just for him to run around. And over the last 2 months, we expanded it and expanded it. Last week, we had an experience at one of the dog parks where the big dogs, you know, it's no fault of their own. They're a bit rambunctious and so I thought, well, let's do something for the small dogs. Come on out, spend as much time as you want. There's a fire to warm up, warm your hands. We have water for the dogs. Come on out, bring your small dogs. There's a whole bunch of trails. There's a yurt that they can go rest in. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to put it together, and it's sure a lot of fun to see some people out here enjoying it.
Simon was also adopted from Paws for Love, and I think he's just a couple of months older than what Addie is, the resident dog. And he's a great dog, but he hasn't been able to run very much, especially the wintertime. It's been super cold, and so when we saw this, I decided to just bring him out and see what it was like. And he's really, really enjoying it.
I love this makeshift dog park, and they look like they're having so much fun.
They look like they're having the best days of their lives,
Right?
even though it might be a little bit chilly out there.
Warming up their hearts
They have
with their
a lot
friends.
more snow there at Thunder Bay than we do here.
I was going to say a lot. Well, time to probably go clear off our windshield.
Yes.
Have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.